Welcome back to Eastlake. I'm Dr. Karen Fling, and today we're here with Queenie and also Dr. Jennifer Ramirez. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and we're so excited that you're here because not only do you have a background in general practice veterinary medicine, but now you are a technical services veterinarian working in industry. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
And what that means is, as a technical services veterinarian, Dr. Jennifer Ramirez actually works with veterinarians like those of us here at Eastlake and counsels us and helps us with information relative to different products that we use in veterinary medicine, and in particular vaccines.
Correct, yes.
And today we're talking about vaccines for dogs, and this little dog Queenie just celebrated her 1-year birthday, and so she's about ready to have her full annual exam. She's about ready to get updated on her immunizations. And Dr. Ramirez, what does a dog like Queenie need to keep her safe and protected?
Yeah, so definitely Queenie, during her annual vaccine this year, there are certain things that we want to protect her against. First and foremost would be Parvovirus, is very prevalent down here in Texas. Her distemper, we want to make sure she gets in her vaccine. Her kennel cough or her Bordetella vaccine is also very important, as well as some of the other supplementals that go along with those major vaccines. So her Parainfluenza, and let's not forget about her rabies.
Absolutely. And one other issue that's a particular problem in our area here is leptospirosis.
Of course.
And so
Yes.
going through these vaccines one at a time, what do we think about when we think about distemper, for example? What kind of problems do pet owners see with an infected pet with distemper?
Usually if a puppy or if a dog comes down with distemper, they get that crusty nose, maybe the discharge, crusty paws, maybe a neurologic symptom like chewing gum disease is what we refer to.
Or actual full-blown seizures.
Or
too.
full-blown seizures, yeah. So it can be very detrimental and very fatal to these pets if they're not vaccinated for it.
And so distemper is certainly preventable if we
definitely.
vaccinate for it.
Yes.
And then just going through kind of our list of immunizations, we also think about hepatitis or adenovirus.
Yeah.
Tell us about that disease.
Yeah, so typically that's one that we tend to forget about, but it's because we've been so diligent at vaccinating our dogs. Hepatitis or adenovirus can cause one of two things. Either the infectious canine hepatitis, which is part of the adenovirus.
And affects the liver.
It does. It affects the liver and it makes them really sick. Or if they get the upper respiratory portion, it can also affect them that way.
I see. Well, better to prevent it than deal with the disease.
Exactly,
for sure.
yeah.
So distemper, adenovirus, or hepatitis.
Yes.
And then parvovirus is another one we worry about.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so parvovirus is a very contagious disease, a virus that is easily spread between dogs and puppies. And again, like you mentioned, it's preventable. So if dogs were to get vaccinated for the parvovirus, we can prevent that disease, which it typically looks like a lot of vomiting, a lot of diarrhea, bloody diarrhea. The puppies, they're just sick. They don't feel well, they don't want to eat.
And so anytime you have a pet that is not wanting to eat or drink and is lethargic, coupled with gastrointestinal symptoms, that's a big worry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so
definitely.
veterinary assistance is definitely needed because parvo in particular can be life-threatening.
Yeah.
Now the other P vaccine we think about is parainfluenza. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so parainfluenza, that tends to be one that gets forgotten about a little bit. Typically, if a dog gets parainfluenza, it's almost like the common cold to you or I. We might do a little sneezing, they might sneeze, they might have a runny nose. But the important fact about parainfluenza is that it's what I like to call a piggyback disease, because if a dog breaks with any other upper respiratory disease, parainfluenza likes to jump in there and cause additional issues.
And make matters worse.
They do. They do. So definitely part of your core vaccines.
Well, the next two vaccines I think we should talk about are two that have not only significance relative to our pets, but also people, and those two are leptospirosis and rabies.
Yes.
And first of all, as far as leptospirosis, what can you tell pet owners about that?
Well, I think the important thing for pet owners to realize is that even if you have a little dog like Queenie, they can still be affected. because they can pick it up from squirrels urinating in the backyard. So even if your dog only goes outside to potty, they can still pick up leptospirosis.
Well, and I think in times past, veterinarians used to think about leptospirosis as being a cattle disease or something that wasn't in urban areas like where we live here in Dallas. So in practice, what we see is a lot of these dogs are just like you say, that they're the backyard dogs that don't go anywhere. And I've even heard that birds can carry leptospirosis.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's scary because they're everywhere.
It really
everywhere.
is. And that is a communicable disease to people as well. And leptospirosis can affect the liver or the kidneys, either one. Some of these dogs that we see are really acutely ill and actually near death. And in fact, one of our nurses previously had this condition and just said it was the most awful experience. And fortunately, a veterinarian spoke up and identified and helped her own physician to even determine that she might have had an exposure just given her background working with animals. But again, totally preventable.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that's the key that people do tend to forget, is that it is zoonotic or communicable to humans. So it's a scary thing.
It is. And when I think about scary, I think about rabies.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of scary.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. And again, something that humans can get, and that is completely preventable.
Absolutely. So there you have it. That's the good news. Even though these are scary conditions, worrisome problems for our pets, they are preventable with vaccines, and we do recommend that your dog or your cat see your veterinarian at least annually, and your pet's doctor can help you determine which vaccines are the most important for your pet and what ideal schedule needs to be followed to make sure that your pet has the optimal care and prevention and protection that they need. And as always, if you do have questions about your pet's immunizations or vaccines, please feel free to call us here at Eastlake. We're here to help.